It was a sweltering summer night in Las Vegas, 1997, and the Strip was alive with blinding neon lights, the hum of slot machines, and the distant roar of crowds spilling out of casinos. The city pulsed with energy, but in one corner of this glittering chaos, a story was about to unfold that would shock the world. 3 young models, Sophia, Madison, and Riley, had flown in from different parts of the country to celebrate a weekend together. The plan was simple. Check into the luxurious Belmore Hotel, enjoy the city's nightlife, take pictures, and escape the pressures of their demanding careers. But what started as a glamorous getaway would soon spiral into a nightmare no one could explain. Friends remember seeing them arrive at the hotel around 8 p.m., laughing and carrying designer bags, excited to explore the famous Vegas nightlife. Sophia had been sharing selfies in the lobby, Madison was joking with a hotel concierge about the best rooftop view, and Riley was busy recording short videos for her modeling portfolio. Their energy was infectious, their excitement palpable. But somewhere between those moments of laughter and the late-night rush of the Strip, the girls simply disappeared. No one saw them leave the hotel. No alarms were triggered. It was as if the bustling building had swallowed them whole. The first signs of trouble came when the hotel staff realized the trio hadn't returned from their night out. Initially, employees assumed they had simply gone elsewhere in the city, perhaps enjoying an impromptu adventure. But hours passed with no word. Phones rang unanswered. Their hotel suite, meticulously reserved and paid for, sat untouched. Their wallets, expensive phones, and all personal belongings remained in plain sight, neatly arranged as if the girls had never intended to leave at all. Panic began to ripple quietly through the staff, the concierge reporting odd feelings of unease as though the hotel itself had absorbed something sinister that night. Word quickly reached their families, and the mood shifted from mild concern to outright fear. Calls were made to the police, modeling agencies, and friends. Authorities arrived to investigate, combing through the hotel's security footage. What they found, or didn't find, was baffling. The cameras showed the girls entering the lobby and checking in, smiling at the front desk, and then nothing. No record of them taking an elevator, no shadowy figures on the hallways, no sign of struggle. The footage was intact, crystal clear, and yet utterly meaningless. The 3 young women had vanished into thin air, and the city's bright lights offered no answers, only more questions. By morning, the disappearance had transformed from a mystery into a full-blown crisis. Local media picked up the story, highlighting the luxury hotel, the models' rising careers, and the eerie lack of evidence. Hotel staff, guests, and neighbors were interviewed, but no one had seen anything unusual. No one could explain the absence of the 3 women. Conspiracy theories began to float. Some whispered of criminal activity. Others spoke of secret dealings hidden beneath the glamorous veneer of the Strip, but the truth remained elusive. Las Vegas, a city known for chance, luck, and illusion, now held a dark secret that would remain hidden for decades, leaving everyone who encountered the story with an unsettling question. How could 3 vibrant young women disappear so completely in the heart of one of the busiest cities in the world? As news of the disappearance spread, the Las Vegas Police Department quickly launched one of the city's most high-profile investigations. Detectives arrived at the Belmore Hotel, combing through every inch of the lobby, hallways, and the girls' suite. They meticulously examined fingerprints, door locks, and even the tiniest details, like a strand of hair or a faint smudge on the carpet. Every corner of the room was photographed, catalogued, and analyzed. Yet, despite their efforts, there was no sign of a struggle, no clue of forced entry, nothing to suggest how 3 young women could vanish without leaving a trace. The hotel, a bustling hub of activity, offered no witnesses who could provide a lead. Hotel staff were questioned repeatedly, some growing defensive, others visibly shaken. Concierges who had chatted casually with the models during check-in claimed they remembered nothing unusual. Housekeeping reported seeing the room in perfect order the next morning, untouched and immaculate. Even the hotel's sophisticated security system, which covered every hallway and elevator, seemed to have failed in capturing anything meaningful. The detectives reviewed the footage multiple times, frame by frame, but all they had were images of the girls checking in, smiling, and laughing, and then nothing. It was as if they had simply disappeared into thin air. Outside the hotel, the modeling agency and families were growing frantic. Calls to friends, co-workers, and social circles revealed no sightings or leads. Every phone number the girls had was checked, every email scrutinized. Detectives followed up on dozens of tips, chasing rumors and unverified sightings across Las Vegas and surrounding areas. But every lead ended in a dead end. The police were left frustrated, the families devastated, and the media hungry for answers. The city was abuzz with speculation. How could this happen in the heart of one of the most populated hotels on the Strip? Strangers reported seeing fleeting shadows in the hotel hallways that night, strange movements caught in the corner of the eye, but nothing concrete could be verified. Some guests insisted they heard laughter echoing down the empty corridors after hours, while others claimed they felt a chilling sense of unease near the girls' suite. Detectives noted these accounts, unsure whether they were genuine or simply the imagination fueled by a city known for neon illusions and mystery. But the pattern of eeriness added another layer of complexity to the case, a psychological puzzle that seemed to defy logic and reason. As hours turned into days, detectives broadened the search to the city itself. Every camera on the Strip was checked, nearby clubs and restaurants were canvassed, and even taxi and limo records were pulled. Still, the models had left no digital footprint, no trace of their presence outside the hotel. Each unanswered question deepened the mystery. Where had Sophia, Madison, and Riley gone, and who, or what, had taken them? The investigation, initially confident and methodical, began to feel like a race against time against an invisible adversary, a case that was about to become one of Las Vegas's most chilling unsolved mysteries. As the investigation hit a frustrating standstill, speculation about the girl's disappearance began to spread like wildfire. Journalists, amateur sleuths, and locals all offered their own versions of what might have happened. Some suggested a high-profile Vegas crime ring was involved, perhaps targeting young, beautiful women for reasons no one could publicly discuss. Rumors swirled about underground operations, secret VIP rooms, and shady dealings hidden beneath the city's glamorous facade. Every theory seemed darker than the last, fueling a sense of paranoia that gripped the Strip itself. Others believed the models had staged their disappearance, running away from the pressures of fame, or escaping personal issues they had kept hidden. This theory gained traction among certain media outlets, citing the girls' busy schedules, high-profile modeling contracts, and intense public scrutiny. Friends and family, however, vehemently dismissed these ideas, insisting that the trio would never abandon their lives, or each other, without a word. Yet, in the absence of concrete evidence, every possibility was floated and analyzed, no matter how improbable it seemed. Some whispered about a shadowy underground network operating right in the heart of Las Vegas, one that preyed on young women visiting the Strip. The very thought sent chills down the spines of residents and tourists alike. Detectives were forced to consider the unimaginable. Could such a network operate undetected in one of the busiest cities in the world? The combination of charm, glitz, and secrecy seemed to provide the perfect cover for sinister activity, but proving it was another matter entirely. Every night the girls remained missing. The more the city seemed to become a character in its own mystery, seductive, dazzling, and deadly all at once. Meanwhile, social circles and friends speculated endlessly. Every small detail was dissected: an unanswered phone call, a cancelled meeting, a suspicious glance in a photograph. Even ordinary interactions took on sinister undertones. People began to claim they had seen strange individuals loitering near the hotel the night the models disappeared, while others reported spotting mysterious cars circling the Strip. Detectives had to navigate a labyrinth of misinformation, rumors, and hysteria, making it difficult to separate truth from fear-driven speculation. With no solid evidence, the theories only grew darker over time. Every possible scenario, from kidnapping to foul play orchestrated by someone close to the girls, was considered. Each new rumor, each unverified tip, added tension to an already tense city. Yet, the models remained missing, and the public's imagination ran wild, fueled by the neon glow of Las Vegas and the ever-present sense that something sinister was lurking just beneath the surface. The theories multiplied like shadows in the night, leaving everyone questioning not only the girls' fate but the safety of the city itself. As the weeks turned into months, and the months into years, the disappearance of Sophia, Madison, and Riley became one of Las Vegas's most haunting cold cases. Detectives filed reports meticulously, updating case logs and revisiting leads whenever new tips surfaced. But each trail seemed to vanish just as quickly as it appeared. Every witness had a conflicting story, every clue led to a dead end, and every theory, no matter how plausible, remained impossible to confirm. The city that never sleeps continued its rhythm of neon lights and bustling casinos, seemingly indifferent to the fate of 3 young women whose lives had vanished into thin air. Families of the missing models were left grappling with a painful limbo. Days blurred into years as birthdays, holidays, and milestones came and went without answers. Their parents and siblings clung desperately to hope, even as the public attention faded. Support groups and online forums kept the story alive for a time, but the lack of concrete developments slowly eroded optimism. Each unanswered question became heavier than the last, and the frustration of knowing something terrible had occurred, but not knowing what, gnawed at everyone involved. Meanwhile, law enforcement never fully closed the case. Detectives continued to monitor the city, occasionally reviewing old surveillance tapes with new technology, re-interviewing witnesses who had moved or changed addresses, and checking up on suspects who might have slipped under the radar. But progress was painstakingly slow, and every promising lead seemed to vanish before it could be fully pursued. The mystery became almost legendary, whispered among locals as one of the strangest and most unnerving disappearances in Vegas history. A chilling reminder that even in a city of lights, shadows could swallow entire lives. Occasionally, rumors resurfaced of fleeting sightings, someone claiming to have seen the girls near a distant casino, or a mysterious car parked outside the Belmore Hotel at odd hours. Detectives investigated each one, following up meticulously, but no evidence ever confirmed these accounts. Still, each tip reignited hope for the families, only to have it dashed again. The emotional toll on everyone involved was immense. Decades of uncertainty had turned grief into a slow-burning anguish, and frustration into an obsession with discovering even the tiniest fragment of truth. The cold case became more than just an investigation. It became a symbol of unanswered questions and hidden dangers lurking beneath the city's glamorous surface. Las Vegas continued to thrive, hosting millions of tourists each year, its bright lights casting long shadows that concealed secrets no one dared to confront. Yet, somewhere beneath the layers of neon and noise, the story of three young models remained frozen in time, waiting silently for a break, a discovery, or a clue that could finally unravel the darkness that had consumed them. 26 years had passed since Sophia, Madison, and Riley vanished, and the Belmore Hotel had long been a relic of its former glory. Tourists still roamed the Strip, oblivious to the dark history hidden behind its walls, while hotel renovations began to modernize aging hallways and rooms. It was during one such renovation that construction workers stumbled upon something unusual: a small, rusted lockbox tucked away behind an old storage panel near the hotel's disused elevator shaft. At first, they assumed it was just another piece of forgotten hotel equipment, a relic from decades past. But something about it felt off. The lockbox itself was heavy, its metal corroded with age, and it emitted a faint musty smell that hinted at long-forgotten contents. Workers hesitated, a sense of unease hanging in the air as they debated whether to open it immediately or leave it to the authorities. Curiosity won. As they pried the lid open, they were greeted by an assortment of personal items belonging unmistakably to the three missing models. There were photographs, delicate jewelry, and a few handwritten notes. But among these ordinary items was something that sent chills down everyone's spine: a single, neatly folded letter, penned in one of the girls' handwritings, recounting events from the night of their disappearance. The letter detailed a secret meeting, arranged under mysterious circumstances, that the girls had agreed to attend. It described promises made by an unidentified individual, whispers of opportunities that seemed too good to pass up, and ultimately, a betrayal so calculated it left the models trapped in a situation from which they could not escape. The handwriting was precise, almost clinical, and the tone of the message shifted from excitement to fear as the words progressed. The contents of the lockbox were more than mere keepsakes. They were a window into the final moments of lives that had been hidden from the world for over 2 decades. News of the discovery spread like wildfire. Authorities immediately seized the lockbox and began a meticulous examination. Every photograph, letter, and item was catalogued, analyzed, and cross-referenced with old case files. Fingerprints, DNA traces, and even the type of paper and ink used were studied by forensic experts. The letter, in particular, offered tantalizing new leads, names, places, and vague clues that had previously been unknown. For the first time in decades, there was a tangible connection to the models' last night alive, and investigators felt the weight of history pressing on them, knowing this evidence could finally crack a case that had haunted the city for years. The lockbox, hidden away for over a quarter of a century, became the turning point in the investigation. What had been an endless stream of unanswered questions now had a foundation rooted in physical proof. The city, which had long forgotten the vanishing among its daily chaos, now returned its attention to the Belmore Hotel and the shadowy events that had transpired there. Detectives knew they were on the brink of uncovering something far larger than they had anticipated, and the suspense surrounding the girls' fate intensified. Every detail in that lockbox was a piece of the puzzle, waiting to expose secrets that Las Vegas had kept buried for far too long. The discovery of the lockbox reignited the investigation like a fire that had smoldered for decades. Detectives who had long worked the cold case were suddenly thrown back into a whirlwind of activity, poring over each item with renewed urgency. Every photograph, every scrap of paper, and every handwritten note became crucial evidence. Forensic teams meticulously analyzed fingerprints and DNA, hoping to match them to known individuals or trace them to locations the girls may have visited. The quiet, stagnant files of the past suddenly buzzed with new life, as investigators realized that this evidence could finally break the decades-long stalemate. With the lockbox in hand, detectives began revisiting old suspects and witnesses, some of whom had long been cleared or overlooked. They scoured business records, phone logs, and hotel documentation from 1997, comparing them to the clues revealed in the lockbox. Names and addresses mentioned in the letters led to individuals who were initially thought irrelevant, but new lines of inquiry suggested otherwise. Investigators also cross-referenced the girls' social circles and professional contacts, tracing every connection, every appointment, every interaction from that fateful night. Every detail, no matter how small, could be the key to unlocking the truth. Technology, which had advanced dramatically since 1997, became an invaluable ally. Old surveillance tapes were enhanced using modern software, uncovering details previously invisible to the naked eye. Digital databases allowed authorities to track people, vehicles, and locations in ways that had been impossible decades earlier. Investigators discovered patterns they had missed the first time, subtle connections that hinted at a larger network operating under the city's neon glare. The once cold case was transforming into a detailed map of deception, betrayal, and danger that had remained hidden in plain sight for 26 years. Interviews and interrogations also took on a new intensity. Former hotel staff, once cooperative but forgetful, were now questioned under the weight of the newly discovered evidence. Some witnesses who had been reluctant to speak now came forward, motivated by the renewed attention and the potential of justice finally being served. Even minor players from the city's nightlife and business scene were brought into the investigation. Each testimony provided a piece of the puzzle, often contradicting prior statements, and slowly investigators began to untangle the web of lies and misdirection that had concealed the truth for so long. The lockbox not only provided physical evidence but also reshaped the narrative of the disappearance. The detectives could now reconstruct the girls' final movements, understanding the sequence of events that had led them into danger. Every revelation brought new suspense, as authorities realized the disappearance was more than just a simple missing person case. It was part of a calculated plan involving deceit, manipulation, and secrecy. The investigation, dormant for over 2 decades, had been resurrected, and the city of Las Vegas, with its bright lights and hidden shadows, held its breath as the truth slowly began to emerge. After months of painstaking work following the clues from the lockbox, detectives finally traced the trail to an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of Las Vegas. The building had long been forgotten, its paint peeling and windows shattered, but inside lay the final pieces of the puzzle. Authorities discovered a hidden safe, cleverly concealed behind a false wall, which contained documents, photographs, and even a small audio recording. The moment the safe was opened, the atmosphere in the room shifted. What had been a cold, decades-old mystery suddenly felt urgent and alive. The documents inside the safe revealed a chilling story of deceit and manipulation. The girls had been lured under the guise of exclusive opportunities, photo shoots, fashion events, promises of connections that could change their careers forever. But the handwriting and notes uncovered in the lockbox suggested the promises were carefully orchestrated to ensnare them. The masterminds had known exactly how to exploit their ambition and trust, turning a glamorous trip to Las Vegas into a trap. Each piece of evidence painted a picture of a calculated plan designed to hide the girls' fate from the world. Investigators were particularly struck by the photographs, which documented meetings, interactions, and people that had once seemed insignificant. Faces previously dismissed in interviews or considered unimportant were now central to understanding the conspiracy. The recording, a faint but audible conversation, captured voices of individuals discussing events from that night, corroborating details in the letters from the lockbox. It was as if the past had been waiting patiently to speak, and finally, it had. Every subtle gesture, every whispered word, now carried meaning and pointed to the truth that had been buried for over 2 decades. As authorities pieced together the chain of events, a pattern of betrayal emerged. The girls had been led into a situation from which escape was nearly impossible, manipulated by individuals who understood the city's underbelly and knew exactly how to cover their tracks. The investigation revealed that this was not a random act but a premeditated operation, executed with precision and hidden behind the city's neon glow. For years, the perpetrators had remained in plain sight, blending seamlessly into the glamour of Las Vegas, while the model's absence was dismissed as another unsolvable mystery. With every new revelation, the shocking reality of what had happened became clearer. The careful orchestration, the false promises, and the hidden network of complicity all pointed to a level of deception that few could have imagined. The city, which had long prided itself on lights, entertainment, and illusion, had concealed a darkness so deep it took more than a quarter-century to expose. The girl's disappearance was no longer an unsolvable mystery but a story of ambition, manipulation, and betrayal, one that would leave Las Vegas forever haunted by the truth hidden behind the glitz and glamour. After 26 years, the mystery of Sophia, Madison, and Riley was finally unraveled. But the story didn't end with justice alone. The shocking revelations exposed not only the girl's tragic fate but also the dark underbelly of a city built on illusion and excess. Las Vegas, with its bright lights and endless entertainment, had concealed a secret so chilling that it haunted everyone who had followed the case. Families finally had answers, but the wounds left by decades of uncertainty could never fully heal. The Belmore Hotel, once just a backdrop to a glamorous weekend getaway, now stood as a silent witness to a haunting story. Construction crews, detectives, and historians would remember the rusted lockbox as the key that unlocked decades of fear, lies, and betrayal. For the city itself, the disappearance became a cautionary tale, a reminder that behind every dazzling neon sign, there can be shadows that never truly fade. Even as the case was closed, questions lingered. How many others had fallen victim to the same deception? Who else had hidden in plain sight while lives were ruined and vanished? The answers were lost to time, but the story of these three models would never be forgotten. Their courage, ambition, and trust had been exploited, yet their memory became a beacon for truth, forcing a city built on illusion to confront its darkest corners. Las Vegas would continue to sparkle, enticing tourists with glamour and excitement, but now with a lingering awareness. Sometimes, the brightest lights cast the darkest shadows. The legacy of Sophia, Madison, and Riley served as a haunting reminder that secrets, no matter how deeply buried, have a way of resurfacing, and when they do, they can shake even the most dazzling city to its core. And so, the tale of the vanished models ended not with closure, but with a lingering sense of unease. A story that would forever echo through the halls of Las Vegas, warning that some secrets are too powerful, too dark, to ever remain hidden.
If you liked this video, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with your friends, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. Most importantly, subscribe and hit the bell icon so the next secret finds you first.